We recently spent time celebrating my birthday in Barbados, and it really is an absolutely beautiful island. Between all the research we did beforehand and everything we learnt while we were there, these are the things that we think are worth knowing before you visit for the very first time. The best time to visit Barbados really depends on your priorities, because there are pros and cons to every season, but here's just a quick overview. Temperatures stay warm all year, usually in the high 20s to low 30s, and the sea is comfortably warm whenever you visit. The biggest differences really come down to rainfall, humidity, crowds, and prices. The peak season is from December to April and is generally drier and less humid, but also busier and more expensive. June to October is wetter, but you'll usually get short tropical showers rather than constant rain, and prices tend to be lower. So really it comes down to whether you prioritise slightly better weather or fewer crowds and lower prices. Really, I don't think there's a bad time to go. Something else to consider is when festivals are happening in Barbados. The main one is Crop Over, which usually runs from June through to early August, marking the end of the sugarcane harvest. It's the island's biggest celebration, with music, parties, and the Grand Kadooment Parade. We were there in February, which coincided with the whole town festival. There were parades, music, dancing, stalls, and open-air concerts. It was a great bonus to our stay. Something else worth mentioning is northern swells, which can affect the island between roughly December and March. This is when the storms in the North Atlantic create larger waves and rougher sea conditions around Barbados. We were surprised by how many rough sea days we actually had, even on the west coast, although locals and regular visitors told us it was worse than usual for that time of year. Barbados Meteorological Services do provide updates on marine conditions around the island on their website and Facebook page, so you can keep an eye on conditions. Warnings and red flags do need to be taken seriously. Most people visiting Barbados stay on either the west or south coast, mainly because that's where you'll find the most swimmable beaches. There's a few key differences, although there are always exceptions. The west usually has calmer, clearer water with less seaweed, although of course it's not guaranteed. It's also generally better for snorkeling. The south coast, on the other hand, tends to have a bit more waves, which maybe you prefer. The west feels more relaxed overall, while the south coast, which is still of course very relaxed, just tends to have a bit more energy to it. There's more nightlife options in the south, and it's where you'll find places like St. Lawrence Gap and Oistins. We started off in Whole Town on the west coast, in a lovely little villa with a lush garden, and then moved down to a beachfront hotel in St. Lawrence Gap on the south coast. Barbados isn't actually very big, so you can absolutely just have one base and explore the island from there, but we preferred moving halfway through our trip. That said, it does depend on how you like to travel and how long you're staying. If you're only there for a few days, it's probably not worth moving accommodation. All beaches in Barbados are public, so you're free to visit whichever ones you like. When you're out enjoying the beaches, just make sure you take any rubbish with you to help keep them clean and protect the wildlife. We found Bajans to be incredibly friendly and welcoming. Most people we walked by would say hello or good morning, and we ended up in so many conversations just by walking past someone. So don't be surprised if people greet you, and remember to say hello back. If you don't want to hire a car, Barbados has a decent public transport network, especially if you're mainly looking to travel along the south and west coast. There are three main types of public transport: the blue government buses, the privately owned yellow buses, and the white ZR vans. When we were there, all types of transport cost $350 Barbadian dollars one way, no matter how far you went. The government buses only take exact change, whereas the yellow buses and ZR vans usually did give change. Unlike the buses, ZR vans don't always stop at bus stops. If they have even just a tiny bit of space in there, they'll often just beep and pull over. The driving style of the ZR vans, and to an extent the yellow buses, can be pretty wild. They absolutely tear around the roads with loud music blasting, which definitely is an experience. Also, at busy times, all three types of transports can get absolutely packed. If you are thinking about hiring a car in Barbados, these are a few things worth knowing before you do. First up, hire cars have an H on the number plate, so they're easy to spot. If, like us, you're from the UK, you might be happy to hear that driving is on the left-hand side, with the steering wheel on the right. One thing we did notice while driving is that people didn't really seem to use their indicators all that much, so just be aware of that. There are definitely potholes in places, and some roads are a bit rough, so take care and go slowly. However, a lot of roads we took were absolutely fine. I'll be honest, in the UK I don't really like driving, but in Barbados I found it much less stressful, even with the potholes. I would say I almost enjoyed it. If you've been researching a trip to Barbados, then you've probably already heard of Oistins Fish Fry. On a Friday night, it's basically a big open-air street food market right by the sea, where you've got loads of fish stalls, music, and really lively atmosphere, packed with both locals and tourists. It does get really busy on a Friday, but you can visit any night of the week if you'd prefer to avoid big crowds. It's quieter, and while not every stall is open every night, there are still plenty of good options. If you Google where to eat in Oistins, you'll no doubt see Pat's Place recommended everywhere. We had one of our favourite meals of our whole trip at Pat's Place, but on Friday night the queue can get slightly ridiculous, and you could end up waiting at least an hour. There are loads of other vendors selling delicious, good value food without the massive queues if you don't want to wait. Here are a few suggestions. Honestly though, I think the best thing to do is just wander around and pick wherever takes your fancy. Speaking of food, we ate ridiculously well in Barbados. There are no doubt loads of amazing places to eat that we didn't get round to trying, but here are a few of our favourites to get you started. The Roti Den near Hull Town serves up delicious rotis, which is curry wrapped in flatbread. We ate quite a few fish cutters on the island. This would be a kind of sandwich which was white fish, sometimes with cheese and hot sauce, usually on Bajan salt bread. We had two favourite places for fish cutters. Kurt's Beach Bar in Hull Town. The spices used here were so delicious, and we could watch it being cooked over the barbecue while sitting by the ocean. Also, Cuz's Fish Stand just off of Pebbles Beach was probably a close second for us. A few other good budget-friendly restaurants were Just Grillin' in Hull Town, Shaker's Bar in Rockley, and Daddy's on the Gap. For a couple of treats meals, we liked Primo on St Lawrence Gap. We went for my birthday and had tuna tartare, seared tuna and Mauritian curry, and everything was just delicious. Also, Sea Cat in Hull Town was a really nice seafood restaurant without being super formal. Just a quick one to clear up any confusion. If you see dolphin on menus in Barbados, it's actually mahi-mahi, a type of fish that's really common here and has a mild flavour and firm texture when cooked. So don't worry, you're not eating flipper. The tap water here is drinkable, and I think it tastes really good. It's naturally filtered through coral limestone before being treated and supplied, so there's no need to buy bottled water. Things really do tend to run on island time here, so everything is a bit more relaxed when it comes to timing. Our first experience of this was on our second day, when the parade at the Whole Town Festival didn't start for about an hour after it was scheduled, with no real explanation. So just go with it and embrace the slower pace of life. Don't bring any camouflage clothing. In Barbados, camouflage of any colour is reserved for the military, and you could be asked to take it off if you wear it. We took a mix of cash and card, and it worked out pretty well. Most restaurants and larger businesses accept Visa and MasterCard, but some smaller shops, food stalls and beach bars are cash only. US dollars are widely accepted too, although you'll get your change back in Barbadian dollars. Don't sit or stand under a manchineel tree, especially when it's raining. The sap is highly toxic and can cause severe skin irritation and blistering, and rain dripping through the leaves can carry it onto your skin. These trees look a bit like apple trees and are often found near beaches, but they're usually marked with red paint or warning signs, so just steer clear. Know that to enter Barbados, you need to fill in an immigration and customs form. You can do this online before you travel, or after you land at the airport. We completed ours before we flew, hoping it would speed things up when we got there, but to be honest, we still ended up in the same length queue as somebody who waited until they arrived. From what I've read, it seems a bit hit and miss which option is quicker, so just be aware it's something that you're going to need to do, one way or another. Barbados has some amazing wildlife. You might see monkeys crossing the road, or even turtles nesting on beaches depending on the time of year. Just make sure you admire them from a distance. Don't feed or touch them. And if somebody approaches you offering a photo with a monkey on a leash, please don't support it. Hopefully these tips help you to make the most of your trip to Barbados. If you have already been and have any advice of your own, feel free to leave it in the comments below so everyone can benefit. And if you're still planning your trip, we also have a video on the best things to do in Barbados, which I'll pop on screen now if you'd like to watch that next. Thanks for watching.